My name is Donovan Zimmerman, and I am an artist, a puppeteer, a father, a husband, and a lover of the earth and its creatures, and a believer in humanity, and a believer in paradox and phenomenon, and I am Quixote. Are you? So my name is Donovan Zimmerman, and I am the artistic director of Paper Hand Puppet Intervention. We are a 20-year-old company here in North Carolina, and we are based in a little town called Saxapahaw. And we make giant puppet spectacles using masks and stilt walkers and shadow puppets and oversized papier-mâché heads. And we just try to create magical worlds and connect people with the world around them and with themselves and with each other. So this Don Quixote mask that is here was a commission that was presented to us by the Chamber Orchestra of the Triangle, and the conductor and the staff over there decided they wanted to do a show called Master Peter's Puppet Show, and this is an opera, and we had never been commissioned to do an opera before, and it was very exciting and interesting to us, and so we watched some of the different ways that it's been portrayed over the years in different places, everything from the absolutely epic to the small-scale community theater. And we came up with a sort of middle ground where we built a giant puppet stage. And the main gist of the play, the opera, is that Don Quixote and Sancho Panza come along to a puppet show that's happening on the street. And they basically watch it, and it escalates to where Don Quixote is not exactly happy with what he's seeing. He doesn't feel like they're doing the storytelling right. So he ends up destroying the puppet stage and basically, tearing some of the puppets up and just having one of his episodes as he over the years. And so I got to play Don Quixote during the show and do a lot of gesticulating like I was singing opera. We did that show for just actually one performance, but it was a great commission, and we've been able to use this wonderful head and armor and the other characters and the puppet stage that we built for multiple different venues and different festivals and experiences, including the I Am Quixote festival that Rafael Asuba put on. So this mask that I made back in 2012 is made of papier-mâché, and it's about 6 or 7 layers of brown paper bags, and so it's nice and hard. The hat is made of cardboard with papier-mâché. The beard and whatnot is some cut-up wigs that have been spray painted and hot glued and sort of changed around along with his little wig. And yeah, it's just a hollow head that you stuff your head inside there, and these two things help hold it on. And the way that we make it, though, is we start with what we call an armature, which is just a big bundle of stuff that's head-shaped in a basic way. And we'll use newspaper and tape to get it as close as we can, or as close as I can. Sometimes I'm speaking of the royal we, because I get help doing some of the papier-mâchéing and whatnot, and sculpting and armature building and deconstructing. But we'll take that armature and then I coat it with a layer of clay, and I will sculpt the face using the clay, and then I put plastic, sort of a shrink-wrapped kind of plastic onto that to get a nice form, and that is my mold. and then I'll just lay the strips of paper on with the paper mache goop and just try to get it as smooth as possible, you know, no wrinkles and whatnot. And after that, I have to actually cut the head off of the mold because it's all the way around in 3 dimensions. So you can't just pull the mask off of the clay mold. You have to make a slice that comes down and goes around. And I hit it pretty well on this one. Sometimes, you know, don't do as well, but I hid the line. And then after that dries, and you put it back together and you put some paper mache on there to sort of heal it back over, then just come in with the paint. And I tend to like to leave some of the brown of the paper. You can see I sort of do a dry brush technique where I scrub on the paint and try to leave elements of the brown paper because I just love that color. It's a nice neutral color. And then the final touches are just doing the eyes and making those painting choices, and then putting, you know, the wigs and hairs on. There's a sort of a stick in here, like a piece of reed, to keep this, so he keeps his curls. I put some hairspray in there and some paint, and just to make it look a little more gray, like Don Quixote would look, I think. And just finished it up like that. The armor was a whole other thing, what I constructed out of cardboard, and I just have some techniques of cutting cardboard and bending and folding it and then stapling it together and then paper macheing it. You can get very rounded organic forms. Here's his. So I wanted to look kind of cobbled together, so I made this little. I wanted to be flexible, so I used some rubber tubes here. But this piece and this piece are different because his armor was supposed to be sort of, basically a little bit found and cobbled together was the idea behind Quixote. The more I researched him, and the pictures I looked at, I made him a little skirt, and we made him some pumpkin pants. They're called those little shorts that are baggy. And got together some boots and a sword, and we had ourselves a Don Quixote. So in working on this Quixote festival and being a collaborator in that festival, I've gotten a chance to reflect a bit on my own relationship to the phrase "I am Quixote," and it I think that I know that I am. In many ways, and it's just a really the archetype that of Don Quixote. That he's a dreamer, and he's an adventurer, and he's a bit of a savant, and it may be a bit mad at times, and you know, I think as long as you continue to try to be good. And nice is good. That it go mad, because the constructs of our society, the status quo, if you will, to me are not acceptable at all times. There are certain things that, sure, we're just living within these contexts, it's fine, but some of the things we accept as the status quo are just purely awful and damaging, violent even. And I have never been a person to just sort of blindly say, oh, I just accept that because it somehow made it to this ubiquitous place in our culture. And so by not accepting that, I don't feel like it puts me at odds with the rest of the culture. I just feel like it puts me on a leadership position to open up other possibilities of engagement with creativity. And I feel like I'm not sure if Quixote was on the same page on every level, but I know that that archetype is a part of me.
I am Quixote. Are you?